Hey, here's 3 examples of how to use ChatGPT to automate and speed up your work in Blender. No coding skills required. Let's get into it. Let's say you spent lots of time on this cool project, but now you have tons of unsorted objects. Instead of sorting it by hand, let's see if ChatGPT can help us out. First, ask ChatGPT to write a Python script for Blender that organizes your objects in whatever way you'd like. And it gives us a little text that we can copy and bring into Blender. Now, if you've never run a script in Blender before, it's super simple. Just open the scripting tab, write your code. In this case, we're pasting our code in, and press play. Okay, I see some collections, but it looks like there are still some objects in our main scene collection, and that's not what I wanted. So let me hop back into our chat and try again. Next, I tried this prompt, and it confidently thought that it fixed the problem for me, but it actually just gave me the exact same script. It's normal that you don't get exactly what you want on your first try, so don't be afraid to reword your prompt a couple of times. It's always going to pretend like it fixed things for you, whether or not it does, so you just have to be patient and keep trying. Okay, we'll paste this third code snippet into Blender and see what happens. So we get an error that one of our objects is already in a collection. I think what I'll do to solve this is just go back to an earlier version of our file where we haven't made any collections yet and see if that fixes it. Nice, looks like our script successfully sorted our objects based on the parameters we asked for. In this next example, let's say that you want to have a script that automatically sets a bunch of render settings all at once so that you can quickly change those settings in a bunch of files. Let's say you have a bunch of shots in your short film and they're all in different blend files and you want to standardize all of those render settings. So let me just think of a few render settings to ask it to change. Copy the code and bring it into Blender. There's a couple problems with the script it gave me. First, it writes a value for our view transform that doesn't exist. The second problem is that it doesn't actually change our render device from CPU to GPU like we wanted. ChatGPT can only really help us with the GPU issue, but not the AGX issue. But why is that? Well, ChatGPT is trained on data that's a few years old by now. The paid version has more recent data it was trained off of as far as I know, but it will still struggle with brand new changes to Blender. For example, ChatGPT was able to help me troubleshoot the GPU issue since that's been a feature in Blender for years, but because the AGX color transform was just added to Blender, ChatGPT doesn't know how to write the code for us yet. Luckily, this was a simple enough problem that Blender's error message gave me the solution I needed, but in more complex problems you'll probably have to do some Googling. Alright, let's end this video with one more example. I'm just going to get it to script a button for me, and I want this button to perform multiple tasks in a row. Think of the quick shortcut menu where you can kind of like assign any button to your quick toolbox. But with this, you can essentially have several steps in a row. Let's copy that code into Blender and let's just see what it does. Alright, so we have an error. I'm going to pull open my info tab and it says there's an attribute error, so I'm just going to bring this back into ChatGPT and see if it can figure out what the issue is. Now this new code doesn't give us an error. It does give us a button that does what we want, but it placed our button in the wrong location. I tried getting it to move our button a few times, but it was being stubborn. So what I did was I started a fresh chat and I just asked for a button in the exact location I wanted without confusing it with the button's functionality yet. After seeing that this code put our button in the right spot, then I asked for ChatGPT to add the functionality back in, and that seemed to work. That's another general tip for you. When in doubt, just start over with a new chat and break your prompts down into simple bites, kind of like you're holding ChatGPT's hand step by step with what you're asking for. I'll put all these tips in the description and the code snippets that I use in the video. Yeah, other than that, let me know in the comments if you'd like to share other good ways of using ChatGPT when it comes to making little add-ons for Blender.